Should I rent out my house when I'm buying another? You know, it's a question a lot of people are asking. They've got a house with a really low interest rate. They don't want to give that up, but they need a different house. We're going to talk about all those issues and more in today's video. I'm Peter Lindquist with the Lindquist team. I'm here with Travis Andersen, a realtor in the Twin Cities area who owns rental property, knows everything that there is to know about this stuff. And so we're going to dig into all this. Hey, if you like today's video, please give it a thumbs up. You know, that's free to do and it means a lot to me. If you'd like to, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you've got any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, Travis, a number of clients of mine have asked, I need to buy another house, but I've got this current house with a really low interest rate, 2 or 3%, and I really hate to give that up. So should I rent out my house and go buy another? And I'm going to ask you that question to help them process that question.
The thing I say to all of my clients that ask that question is I always say, as a realtor, I own investment property myself. I think the fastest way to get into an investment market would be to just convert the home you're currently in into a rental property and then just buy your next home. So if you're able to qualify for it, I absolutely think you should do it. I think that everybody should own rental property at some point. It's a great way to diversify their retirement accounts. Obviously, real estate historically increases in value. And the longer you own real estate, even if it doesn't increase in value, your mortgage generally gets paid off. If it's a renter paying it off, that's even better. And so I love the idea, and that's generally how I start that conversation.
Yeah, and so I think a natural question is, I'm just a regular person and I've never been a landlord before. So, the whole thing just kind of scares me. To that person, what do you say?
There are ways to kind of combat our fear around rental real estate, whether it be hiring a management company or, taking some seminars or something like that to kind of learn a little bit more about it. Some people are more risk averse, right? And so some people just aren't going to do it ever. And that's fine. But if you have a little bit of that in you where you've always thought about being a landlord or being in the rental market as an owner of real estate, then this is a really great way to get started and keep that low interest rate. Like you mentioned in your first question here, keep that low interest rate, put a tenant in there that's able to pay that mortgage with a little bit of a profit, and then move on. And then 15 years down the road or something, that home's probably paid off and you're just cash flowing, the most of the rent, I suppose. There's obviously expenses to rent the real estate.
Where I think a lot of people make a mistake, and it's a natural reaction is, hey, my mortgage payment is $1,500 a month, and I can rent it out for $2,000 a month. So the whole value to being a landlord is I'll make $500 a month. Is that is that the whole value?
Yeah, definitely not. I've got a spreadsheet that calculates there's four different pieces to rental real estate. The first of course would be your monthly cash flow. Then you've got your appreciation or equity reduction and appreciation I kind of put together. And then you've got some tax advantages. And there's a fourth one in there. I forget what it is off the top of my head, Peter, but there's four advantages that I've got a spreadsheet that I put together for my clients, and they can see very clearly that your total return on investment isn't just that monthly cash.
Yeah, and I've talked to many people, and I've encouraged them to talk to their agent, talk to you, but quite often that is the overriding thing. Well, I'm only going to make $200 a month, and I mean some of that other stuff really makes a huge difference in what's actually happening with your money when you own an investment property.
Yeah, if I could give an exact example of what we're talking about, I had a client of mine who did this exact thing we're talking about. They owned a townhome in their, city that they actually grew up in. They owned a townhome, and in 2015 they started to rent that townhome, and then they went and bought a single family home in a neighboring community. Okay, at the time they were collecting a couple $100 a month. I just spoke with this client within the last 6 months or so. They're now collecting a couple $100 cash originally. Now it's turned into about $600 cash. They were curious what the value of that home is today. It's worth $100,000 more than it was when this happened in 2015, so they've got that. The mortgage has been paid down substantially, so now they're actually going to, what they're considering doing is doing a refinance on that one, taking out some of the equity and then buying another rental property. And so, yeah, I just think for purposes like at any investment, right? It may look bleak at first, but 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, something like that, that's when you really start to realize the benefits.
Yeah, and when I'm talking to buyers, I'm saying you've got this rare commodity you're probably never going to have again. You have borrowed $200,000 at 3% interest. And once you sell it, that's gone. You're not going to get that back, and you're probably never going to see it again in your lifetime. So this is, in a way, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity because when you go to buy investment property, very different thing. I'll tell you from the lending side that it's a larger down payment by a significant amount, oftentimes 20 to 25% as a down payment. And then it's higher interest rates, higher than if you were going to buy and occupy a property. So if you don't own one, that's a different video that we can talk about. I'm speaking to you own this property at a low rate. I'd love to see you sell it and buy another one. But if part of that conversation in your head is, hey, what if I rent it out? That's what I want to talk about in this video series, Travis.
Yeah, I think that makes tons of sense. We can talk about the tax advantages. We can talk about this spreadsheet. We can talk about the mortgage situation. How do you actually make that move and qualify for a new mortgage while you have your current property? So, yeah, I love the idea and happy to dig into it.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else that, this video is intended to be kind of an introduction, talk a little bit about all the things that we're going to talk about in this series about this particular group of buyers that have a home to sell and now they're going to rent it out. Got anything else that you want to address?
Yeah, probably a silly thing. I'm not sure if you've ever heard this idiom before, but it's the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. I would say that that's the same thing with investing in real estate or investing in the stock market or what have you. The best time to have done it would have been like decades ago. The second best time would be like, let's just get started today. And whether that be a conversation with you or a conversation with me, let's start moving things forward. If this is something that you've considered, the second best time to do it is right now.
You always have these things, and I absolutely love it because just sticks in my head, and that makes makes it handy. Well, Travis, thanks for taking the time to talk with me today. I'm looking forward to digging into all of these issues with you, and maybe we'll extend the series and talk about, hey, we don't have this situation, but we want to buy and rent. We'll talk about all this stuff in the coming days. Thanks a bunch, Travis.
Thank you, sir.